the Batman's grave. So this is Warren Ellis writing, with Brian Hitch on art. And Connor, you don't typically like Warren Ellis, right?
Yeah, I only tried it because Matt was running late, so I had time. So I
Uh,
thought, well, I'll give it a try. I'll be honest, don't think I would have missed much if I hadn't read it. It's it's fine. I really like the art. Hitch is doing some good work. Um,
yeah, it sets up this thematic thing at the start where there's a grave for Bruce next to his parents, and Alfred's like terrified that he's going to fill it. It's like he knows he's going to fill it before he's gone. He'll be here to bury Bruce. But the actual story is a serial killer story. There's a call about a murder that the police aren't really responding to, so Batman goes in, and it's kind of, and I was kind of into this because it was, it was a crime scene. There is a scene where he saves like a couple, a gay couple who are walking with their kid from some thugs. Mainly for the because it's like in an alleyway
an alleyway after the cinema.
Yeah, after the movie theater.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so Alfred has a couple of like dark light. Well, not dark. Alfred's not a cruel person, but he cracks like a alleyway after a movie theater. You should start like what he says.
Stepping on.
You may as well leave business cards behind for your stalkers. I think that's what he says.
Yeah, I want to say when the guys are there to attack him, that's one of my least favorite lines of dialogue in this book. One of the guys with the gun says, "Oh, we scorn your badge, we scorn your control, we scorn your life." Like, what the hell are you doing? Just shoot him.
This is a. Well, why would you want him to just shoot him? He's the bad guy.
No, I know, but if he's gonna stand there and monologue and say something, I don't know. That was such awkwardly written dialogue from this thug that it just felt weird.
Oh, I'm sorry. No villain in the history of media has ever monologued before they do their bad thing before.
They can monologue, but this is a seemingly random thug in the street with pulling the gun on the couple, and it was such a weird phrase for this thug to kind of come out with. That
he's an eccentric thug. All right, what do you want from him? He's an eccentric
dialogue.
Anyway,
Eccentric Thug's my favorite punk band.
So yeah, Batman goes to this apartment. He hears from the neighbors like what they've been smelling and whatever, and he goes in, and this dead guy's got like Batman like newspaper clippings all over the walls, and he's been rotting there on the sort of sofa bed for a while. And Batman like takes a scan of the room. He sends some information to Alfred. And I think what I liked about this is it is very much a crime solving Bat book where Bruce comes home and Alfred's drinking some whiskey or something. I don't know what he's drinking. And
it was McCallum.
And
Connor, what's he drinking?
Yeah, well, they called it McCallum. Clearly, it's just meant to be McCallum. Yeah, Scotch. Right. I don't know why they felt the need to change the name when no one ever really does when it's McCallum.
So I said whiskey, and I think I was close enough then. Okay, that's.
I mean, you were right.
That's broadly correct. Yes. So yeah, Alfred's doing his usual thing, but he's a bit more miserable. Like he's not being snappy, Alfred. He's being kind of like, I'm having a drink to kind of calm myself because I'm always worried about you, and you could really do with because he even kind of like loosely suggests like. Thinking as a soldier, he's like, it would just be easier to kill them all. But I kind of took it as he's not seriously suggesting this. He's just kind of like going through the thought process.
As a soldier, you would think, and because his point is that, hey, Bruce, this is a war zone, but I think you're the only person in it that doesn't realize it's a war zone. You're kind of treating it like a game.
And even when he gets back though, he took a scan of the crime scene, so he actually does like a sort of virtual reality like crime scene thing when he gets back, and looks around and tries to figure out what's going on, and he sort of discovers through the evidence that this person was a bit of a loner. He lost everything, and he got this shitty little apartment. But recently, he made one new friend, and he's bought an extra mug for that new friend. And I kind of like this kind of the deducing, throughout it. And then it was like, oh well, the one friend has to be the killer essentially. This person was getting close to him to lure him in, and it kind of plays with like. Bruce is the person, and then Bruce is just watching the person. It kind of plays with like who we're actually looking at in each of the parts of the reconstruction and the virtual crime scene. And Batman, has his realization, and he races back to the crime scene, and discovers that the killer is actually hiding under the floorboards under the bed. It ends with this kind of like demented serial killer kind of close up of him just saying he was lonely. Although I wasn't sure, I was wondering if this was actually doing a bit of a switcheroo here, where it was actually the guy who lives here who's the killer, and it's the friend who's on the bed.
That was the impression I got.
Yeah, I got that impression because he says, because it's the way his line says, "I was lonely." It makes me think it was the guy living here that did the killing.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So.
There's definitely some stuff I like in this. Like, when we're in the kind of reconstruction to do the detective, and like you say, it plays it like we see the victim, lying there on the bed and sitting up, and it's talking. It's clearly Bruce talking as the victim, and it goes back to Alfred, because he's like, hey, you don't know how to get into the mind of the killers, or I think it's Bruce maybe says as well, but he can't think like the killers. He can only think like a victim, which I think is what separates that from most of these, crime reconstruction profiling. You've seen it a million times on TV at this point.
Yeah. But it does that thing where Bruce kind of becomes the victim. He's wearing the suit, and it kind of switches around.
But it's different he becomes the victim instead of becoming the killer, which is what the usual thing in this is.
But it's the twist here at the end being that what he thought was the victim is the killer. So it does this kind of switchery on him where he's kind of realized that he was thinking as the killer in a bizarre way.
Yeah, you just didn't realize it. I like that in theory.
In theory.
Well, I really like the idea. I just think a lot of the dialogue is awkward, which kind of makes it stilted for me. It's my problem with Ellis.
I actually quite enjoyed this issue. At least Hitch's art was actually pretty solid, which is, I can't believe I'm saying that these days about Hitch, but it started off with this kind of this somber tone, and if we're doing like Seven in Batman, like we're doing like serial killers and stuff. I mean, he's already found this guy, so I mean, obviously there's going to be more plot next time, but. Yeah. If that's the sort of tone we're going with for this, I could be quite into that. So yeah, this is the Batman's Grave issue 1. What are you giving it?
I'm gonna give it a 6 because I really like the art and I like some of the ideas, but just dialogue just falters for me.
Okay. I'm probably gonna give it an 8. I thought it was pretty good, and I'm intrigued. I do want to read the next one. We'll see how busy the schedule is, but I think I'm going to try and read the next one. I was into it.